gave myself a haircut and now I look like Lord Farquaad. Hope that's okay. Hi, hello, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about my fall and probably winter knitting plans. So let's have a look inside my Ravelry queue. Today is a very cozy day here. Yesterday it was raining so much and today the rain has stopped, but it's kind of gray outside and very cold, and apparently summer is coming back next week, which I think I could have skipped that and gone straight into fall, but here we are. I'm trying to make the most of this autumn day. So I hope you've grabbed yourself a nice little beverage. I have chamomile tea actually. A lot of people I know hate it, but I think it's very good. So yeah, cheers. And let's get into it. First, I want to talk about the thing that I am wearing, which is the Elva Sweater by wemadewardrobe. I did test knit this for them, and this is one of my warmest, coziest sweaters. I actually have to really think hard about when I'm gonna wear this because it is so warm. Like when I wear it outside in winter and I have a jacket on and then I move, then I'm gonna get so sweaty. But if you have a lot of sitting around to do where it's kind of cold, maybe in the office or somewhere, it is actually perfect because this yarn is very, very soft and also very warm. This is by a brand called Schoolhouse. They're merino and mohair held together. And I think the color is absolutely gorgeous. I have been looking for a yarn in this electric shade of blue and I found it. And I really, really like that sweater. Okay, my plans are quite ambitious. And if I'm being honest, I am kind of overwhelmed, but I'm gonna tell you at the end of this video how I'm planning to tackle this. So the first item that is on my queue, if we want to count unfinished objects, is my second mood sweater. Yes, my second. If you want to know what happened to the first, you should head over to my Instagram because the whole saga is over there. And I decided to reknit the exact thing because when I made the first one, first of all, I loved it so much. And second of all, I kind of got annoyed with the pattern. And then when it came to the collar, so you work it in a bottom-up raglan, and then you do decreases to get to the collar. And at that point, I was so annoyed by the pattern that I just did my own thing, and then the collar got like a centimeter too tight. So it might not actually be that bad that I get a second chance at knitting this. And I will also be knitting it in slightly different colors because I tend to be estimated a lot younger than I am. I am 30 years old. I am an old, wise woman. And just last week I was told someone thought I was just a real girl boss and I was 24, which that is a very nice compliment, but I'm figuring this comes from me wearing all these super bright, fun colors. And don't get me wrong, I really love them, but I thought, I don't know, sometimes I'm in the mood to actually dress my age, you know? So yeah, I chose slightly different colors for that, and I'm very happy with that color choice. I cannot wait to see what the finished sweater is gonna look like. The actual first thing I want to knit has been in my queue since last year. Last year I went to a yarn shop that was giving up business and they had, I think, a 20 or 30% discount on all of their yarn. And I snagged 2 balls of cashmere yarn. which very fancy. I haven't owned anything in cashmere before. And that I want to knit up into the scarf number 4 by my favorite things knitwear. The yarn is a kind of pink leaning red, and I think a pop of red when your outfit is quite neutral otherwise can look so good. And also it's a small scarf, so it's not gonna get you all hot and bothered, but it's just a very nice little touch of warmth around your neck and perfect for any fall days that might not be freezing yet. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you all know that scarf. It is all over the internet. Yeah. And I cannot wait to own this and just add my own pop of color to my outfits. The second item I want to get done in the fall is the Berlin scarf. And so I'm currently trying to sew my own fall jacket, not like a thick warm winter coat, but a fall jacket that is not quite as warm. And I wanna sew it so that it is reversible. And one side is gonna be leopard print faux fur because that's who I am as a person. And for the other side, I wanted it to be a layer that was somewhat water repellent. So if I'm outside and a small drizzle comes my way, then I'm not gonna get soaked. So I decided to buy a black quilted fabric for the waterproof shell of my jacket. And then I was thinking, I really badly want something that is purple. That was a very long tangent. So yeah, I want a purple scarf. And I think the Berlin scarf is just very sleek and clean, and it's gonna make such a good outfit detail when it's done in a nice color that complements the rest of the clothing that I'm wearing. So I thought, if I'm not making a purple jacket, I'm gonna make a purple scarf. And I already have yarn in mind for this. I have knit with Chaos yarn in the past with their merino. And the merino is very fine. It is, I think, a fingering weight, but I'm probably gonna hold that double, and maybe I'm gonna go for a bigger needle size so that the gauge is a bit more airy, so I'm not gonna need as much yarn, because that yarn is expensive, but it's also the softest thing I've ever touched. I am just in love with that yarn, and so that is probably gonna be a bit of an investment piece. But I'm very looking forward to making that, although many people have told me that knitting scarves is very boring. So please let me know in the comments, I'm curious. Have you ever knit a scarf? And do you want to knit a scarf? Or how was your experience if you have knit one as a more intermediate knitter? And then there are 2 more items in my immediate queue that I want to get done before Christmas. And you might think 2 scarves are not that much. You're probably gonna get those 2 sweaters done, right? Yeah, I don't know. There's just this gut feeling that I have that I might get myself into a bit of a time crunch. But let's talk about these sweaters. The third item in my queue and the first sweater is the Porcelain sweater. And I have admired this from afar for a very long time. I think it is gorgeous, beautiful, amazing, and I would love to own it. However, grays and beiges are usually not things that I wear. And I also don't think, as beautiful as this sweater is, I don't think it would fit my personal vibe. And my best friend is turning 30 in January, and I was kind of thinking what I could make her as a gift. I have made her a dress before, which she looks absolutely stunning in. And I kind of wanted to knit her something because I've crocheted her a flower hair tie once, but I wanted to make her a very nice sweater for her birthday, especially since it's such a big birthday. And I thought, if I'm not the right person to be wearing the porcelain sweater, this sweater would actually be perfect for my best friend because her style is a bit more old money than mine. Not like super old money, but it also leans towards a golfing, cottage living vibe. So I think this sweater would match her style perfectly. So I'm gonna make that for her. And I actually cannot wait to knit that. It looks a lot of fun to knit because of the colorwork bands, and then you get a little break with just one color stockinette. That could be fun. The fourth item in my queue, and also the most ambitious item in this list, is the Christmas Past sweater. Christmas's Past sweater. Not sure if I wrote that down right. But I recently bought a book about fair isle knitting just because I wanted to learn more about color work in itself, and I've really come to enjoy the look of a nice fair isle sweater. And then I was thinking, does a fair isle sweater match my style? I don't think it does really, because I also don't wear a lot of very small detailed patterns. So yeah, I kind of put that plan aside for a while. And then last week I was starting to think about maybe making a Christmas sweater. And I was thinking about maybe self-drafting one, just with a big intarsia motif. For some reason, I really would have liked to make one with a pickle on it, like a Christmas pickle. But I thought, I don't know. I've never done intarsia before. Not sure that's gonna end well, and I don't want to stress myself out during the Christmas time, to be honest. I want to be able to enjoy it. So I thought I'm gonna go with a pre-made pattern. And then I started looking up Christmas sweaters on Ravelry, and I wasn't really finding a lot of stuff that I liked. There is this one, Knitting for Olive, I think holly wreath sweater, which again is very pretty, but not at all my vibe. And as I was clicking through the Ravelry pages, around like page 9 or 10, really far back, this sweater popped up. And I looked at it and I thought, it's beautiful, it's perfect, it looks like the hardest fucking thing I've ever knit. I'm gonna try that. So yeah, it is knit in fair isle. I believe it is a fingering weight sweater, so that is gonna be great. I've already looked at some Ravelry projects by someone else, and that lady was knitting on that sweater for like 6 months. And I hope that is because she took her time and not because that thing actually takes that long, because I do not have 6 months. And yeah, I am very worried because it is so detailed. There's apparently a lot of rows that have 3 colors, and I think I'm just not gonna do that to myself. I have no desire to live through that, so I'm gonna knit them 2-colored and then I'm gonna duplicate stitch the details onto it. I did that with another fair isle yoke sweater and that worked out pretty well. So I'm gonna take the easy way out. So that is all of the bigger projects that I want to do. However, I was telling you I'm somewhat nervous because I also have a lot of gift knitting planned. I think I'm gonna get into the topic of gift knitting a bit closer to Christmas maybe. If you're interested in that, let me know. And there are 2 occasions that I need to be knitting for, or I want to be knitting for, let's be honest. The first occasion are children, babies. One of my friends is having a baby in January, and someone in my family is having a baby in January, and that person in my family already has a child, and there's another person in my family that has another child. So many children just spawning everywhere, which is nice, I guess. But I wanna give the 2 newborn babies a kind of birth present. So I will make them the unbearable hat. I've already made that for another newborn this summer, and it's just cute. It has bear ears, it is knit in colorwork, and for some reason non-knitters are very thoroughly impressed when they see colorwork knits, like knits in multiple colors, which, to be fair, it's not the easiest thing, but knitting is not hard. So yeah, but it's nice to be complimented on my skills, which that's not the main reason why I'm doing this, but you know. I want them to be really in love with the hats that I'm giving their babies. And yeah, so that is 2 unbearable hats for 2 newborn babies. And then the one newborn that's about to come in January, they already have 1 sibling. And of course, the sibling has to get a matching hat so that they're not gonna feel left out. And then those 2 siblings, they have a cousin that is already a bit older, and I don't want her to feel left out either. So she has to have an unbearable hat as well. So that is 4 unbearable hats for me to make. And the second occasion is that in the city where my parents live, there is some kind of charity, and they host a Christmas party for unhoused people, and they get served a 3-course dinner, and they get some presents, and there is one knitter in that city, and she's kind of affiliated with that whole charity, and every year she organizes that all of the knitters in that city and like the villages around that city, that everyone contributes some smaller knits to give those people as a present. And every year it's something different. Last year they made hats. I've only done this last year. I think my mom stumbled upon it, and I think she made 1 hat and I made, I believe, 3. And this year it's gonna be socks. And I don't love sock knitting. I despise knitting socks in fingering weight yarn. I'm not gonna do that. No way in hell I'm gonna be knitting fingering weight socks for anyone anymore. I just don't wanna. So I was figuring, since these socks are for people who are gonna be outside pretty much the entire time, fingering weight socks are a bit lighter, and I think for them it would be good to have very thick, very compact, very warm socks. And so knitting the socks in DK weight yarn might be a much better choice anyway. Which is good for me, because I prefer knitting socks in DK weight yarn. It makes it go by much faster, and it's not as fiddly, and it's something I can do. So I want to do that. I got started on 1 pair. The first sock is almost done. That is gonna be presumably the 38 to 40 pair. But that is leaving me with like 4 or 5 pairs of socks to knit. Of course I don't have to. Of course it would be fine if I just sent over 1 pair of socks. Like 1 pair of socks is better than nothing, obviously. but I have this desire in me to make as many of these people happy as I can. And I want everyone to have toasty feet in winter, so I'm gonna do my best to get a couple pairs done. And yeah, about the order in which I'm gonna be doing these projects. I have my mood sweater on the needles currently, and I've also started the first sock. And the way I'm gonna do it is, when I'm at home, I'm gonna be knitting on my larger projects, so the sweaters and the scarves and stuff like that. And whenever I'm on the go, whenever I'm in work meetings, like my colleagues don't mind if I knit in work meetings, which is so nice. I get so much done, and knitting actually helps me listen better. So that is a very great situation to be in. So yeah, when I'm out and about and in work meetings, I'm gonna be knitting socks. And I'm not sure when I'm gonna be doing the hats. One of these hats, since they're baby size, takes me about 3 to 4 days when I knit at night and have like 2 to 3 hours to put into them every day. So it might be okay if I wait until November to get started on them. So that way, if I'm sick of knitting socks until November, I can just switch it up and make a few hats. So yeah, that is a lot, but we're only halfway through September, right? So I can take my time, I can make sure that no wrists are harmed. And I should not be falling in love with anything else that I desperately want to knit then. So yeah, these are all of my plans. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please let me know in the comments how you feel about gift knitting, if you're gonna be gift knitting this year, how much you're gonna be gift knitting. I would love to hear from you, and see you next time. Bye!